Bucko.
And Bug.
This is episode 3 of the PAX Roboto show. Welcome to anybody who's new. I think we've had 10 viewers over the last 2 shows. That's cool. The algorithm's going to pick us up one day, Bug. We're going to be talking about this stuff anyway, so we might as well report it.
Might as well.
Enjoy thinking about it. So for those who might be new, welcome. We are the duo Subliminal Sun. We make music, we make art, and we talk a lot about artificial intelligence and the future of mankind. And so that's what we're talking about today. Try to keep it within 30 minutes. We keep it free flowing. If you like it, subscribe, share it, put a comment below, and we hope you come back. So, Bug, the thing that's been on my mind all week.
Tell me about it. What is it?
Is music and AI. That's been that's been the thought pattern. So a couple of things, right? So like you got Universal Music Group coming out and telling all the streamers basically, what is it? AI music is a fraud, right? For good reason, right? So you've got a guy named Ghostwriter who creates a mashup song, a duet between The Weeknd and Drake, a fake Drake, an AI Drake, right? And
but a convincing one. Right.
Oh my God. Yeah. I mean, we're not going to link to it, but I'll tell you what, if you can listen to it just for a minute, yeah, you'd be convinced too.
I have not had the opportunity yet. I'm going to go check it out immediately.
It's worth it. There's a few other ones out there. There's an Eminem one, and of course there'll be a million and soon enough. So, but it's very convincing. And I see Universal has a very serious point here, right? But then I watched a video yesterday from a guy who I like, Finn McKenty and the Punk Rock MBA. Have you ever heard of that show on YouTube? Not. Okay. He talks about music. And he's exactly the same age as us. And he talks about music. He grew up in the same generation, loves to talk about retro stuff, new stuff. He knows more new music than I do, but that's his whole shtick. And he talks a lot about the philosophy of music too, I guess. And so he talked, his one was AI is killing music, and he kind of approached it as a sort of a thought experiment in terms of what will happen when people start enjoying AI music, right? How long will it take before people think, hey, that's catchy? And what Finn was saying is like, hey, people listen to pop music because it's catchy, it moves them. And so if AI creates that thing that moves them, what's wrong with that? We'll accept that. And so I wanted to talk about that.
Yeah.
Because I'm not sure I agree with him.
Yeah.
Which I often don't agree with him. I just enjoy watching him quite a bit.
Right.
But go ahead.
One question. No, so this Ghost Writer or Ghost Rider.
Ghost Rider is a fucking awesome name.
It is
what a great name. This guy nailed it, whoever this guy is.
Now, did he write the music and then using AI generate the voices? Okay, so this was not an AI generated song completely. Okay, I got you.
That's the kicker, I think. That's the hook right there, because and you can see this guy. I don't know if it was the same guy or somebody else, but I just watched a video of a guy making one.
Yeah.
In the style of, I believe it was Eminem. And yes, he had his lyrics and he rapped it, and then it morphed the voice to Eminem, but he had to perform it. He had to write it, but he could have had it written by AI. And in fact, I'm pretty sure that's what's going on, is they're writing it via AI. They use the human voice to carry the tune.
Right.
But Bug, that's just a matter of time.
It's not that far a leap from auto-tune,
No, and I love it as a tool, as a musical tool. I cannot wait. And there's already some AI solutions out there.
There are.
That was all screwed up. Excuse me, fans, family. They cost some money, and I haven't taken the plunge, but AI music is going to be something people are going to debate and tribalize over, right? You're going to have the humanists, and I think this is going to apply to a lot of things in culture and life. You're going to have the humanists, and you're going to have the, I don't know, acquiescent. The AI acquiescent. And there's going to be a division there.
Synthesizers, sympathizers.
Yeah, so you can imagine a future in which people are like they are today, snobby about the music tastes that they have, and snobby about the fact that it's produced by a human or written by a human. I think people will also acquiesce and enjoy pop music or things like, this is one of the things that Finn said, which caught my attention in terms of the commoditization of music. So like lo-fi background music and muzak and stuff that's in films, scores, and commercials, like that stuff is going to be AI. Like people who make a living off of that, they're going to be, looking for a different field of work, I think, because the cost of making a commercial with professional musicians is pretty high, or licensing a song is fairly high, versus sitting down at your MacBook and typing in, hey, I want to hear some nice free flowing symphonic music that'll be perfect for a car commercial.
Right.
Boom. And then you could hit regenerate and boom. And there's another one. Boom. I mean, you could just do your whole marketing campaign that way. Why wouldn't you? If capitalism is what it is, right? And it's all about efficiency and, maximizing income based on, controlling capital, then why wouldn't you do that? The only reason you wouldn't do that is social pressure, in my opinion, right? The only reason you would not go down the route as an organization, or even as an artist, you start to think twice about it, is like, if you've got societal pressure that says you need to be hiring humans, you need to be using humans in these roles, even if you can use AI, you shouldn't. And so a little bit like how corporations signal, today in social media, or even in the broader zeitgeist, saying, hey, we are carbon neutral. We're going to be carbon neutral by 2030. All right. I could see something in the future that said we are human neutral or
Right.
AI neutral. Right. So for every AI we use, we have to also have a human job that goes with it. Right. There'll be a societal pressure. Now, I can't see another reason, because capitalism isn't designed for AI. Right. Because theoretically, you could get to a point where every corporation's run by an AI itself, or one person in an AI. You could really just play that tape out very easily and quickly. And especially as robotics comes online, I mean, why couldn't you run an entire Amazon warehouse with robots and artificial intelligence, pretty much the entire organization? Maybe have a couple people at the helm to take the credit and make the money.
Right.
Like so what else is going to, what would stop that? Law or social pressure?
Yeah, I haven't listened to much AI generated music. I know that it's out there, and actually I did experiment with a few programs, one of which you fed it a song and then it would generate something similar to it, but not quite.
Did it have lyrics? Did it sing, or did
it
it
did
make
not sing.
mumble noises?
No, it didn't sing at all.
Okay,
I think it just generated just the
orchestration.
musical orchestration. Yeah.
Okay. Because I've heard some that like sing, but they don't actually say anything. A little bit like if you try to get words on
just
mumbling, but in that style, hip hop or whatever.
That's called mumblecore, man.
That's deep underground.
Yeah. So yeah, I don't know. I guess
I got off on a tangent.
Right.
As far as like music, but like that's the same decision people have to make with music. It's
right.
Like, do we want humans?
Well, the thing is happening with art right now as well, and that's the kind of the development and the production of these AI models that generate art have kind of been they've come before the music portion, and they're pretty ubiquitous now. You can go to Stable Diffusion or Midjourney, DALL-E, and you can generate just about any picture you want. Is that going to render artists obsolete? I don't think so. I think that we've talked about this before. I think the artists that are going to be triumphant in the future are the ones that are going to learn how to use this technology to their advantage and to grow with it. And probably the same with musicians as well. Like how how can they perhaps automate their process, or I don't know, just bring in some AI components that accentuate, emphasize, and
And artists
amplify
do that
your
every single
own
day.
voice. They already do
Yeah,
that
I mean,
in a certain way. Yeah, for sure.
I mean, the software and plugins that we use for our DAW, they are so sophisticated, and some of them already have basically artificial intelligence in them. You think about Drummer on Logic Pro, you're talking about an AI. You're moving some sliders, you're moving things around, you're adjusting it yourself, but it's giving you the rhythm, right? And then you can tweak it from there. Like that's absolutely no different than what you're describing, which I think is perfect way to use AI. And I don't think there's going to be a problem with that usage of AI, even if it means perfecting people's voices. Like people are already okay with auto tune, right?
Yeah.
And basically every artist, unless you're an absolute kind of purist or whatever, or you have a perfect pitch, is using to their advantage. Even if they're moving one or two notes in a song up or down, they're going to use it. And so, and some people use it as an artistic tool.
Sure.
There's a difference in that and the generation of music and the release of music into the popular wild, and the fact that it could chart and make money for a corporation or an artist. Like the revenue is just going to go directly to somebody who typed out "make me a song" or whatever, and it sounded really good. Oh, make it like Drake. I mean, like do those people deserve millions of dollars? So to me, that's part of the question, right? Like, and people will enjoy those, and they will gain traction. This is going to happen in the next year. There is going to be a hit AI song. This is just inevitable.
Okay? There's already been a photography contest won by
an AI
generated
they
photo.
Didn't realize
right?
it till after. Yep. Until he admitted afterwards this was an AI. He didn't think he would win, I think. But he did the right thing. He said, look, this is AI, and let's start the conversation. So we'll put that picture up.
Yeah. There will come a time very soon, and already in some areas it's already here, where AI generated art, music, writing is going to be indistinguishable from the human counterpart. But you know what? There's an argument to be made, though, that the uniqueness of the human voice and the human experience, the creative process, is irreplaceable, and that you're never gonna, I don't know, capture that kind of creative power behind a human generated piece of where, like, I was listening to some old blues music the other day, some old Sun Volt, some R.L. Burnside, and and these guys,
that's a good point,
they're not on pitch, but
soul.
they're soulful, man.
It's about soul,
right?
I think you nailed it. Absolutely, that is the difference. But if it's not for soul for some people, but it's for background music, or if it's for partying and dancing, that's not necessarily soul. That's entertainment. That's happiness. That's joy. That's good. We good music. That's important music. But could it be created by AI? Since the purpose of the music, the intent of the music is different.
That's why we need to fill the niche for background soul, B-roll soul. Okay, that's what non-AI, human-generated filler. We'll do that.
B-roll soul.
B-roll soul. Okay, so did you see? So Adobe Firefly just came out, and so one of the most fascinating aspects of this AI tool that I've seen.
You got a beta on it?
Yeah. I've got a beta on it. I haven't explored all of the functions yet, but the one part that looks really cool is the B-roll. You can take a script, for a movie, like a little clip that you're making, a video, and you say find B-roll, and it will go and it will search out and find Creative Commons freely usable clips of video that it will splice in as B-roll while you're talking. It'll cut away from from the person speaking, and yes, and you can generate storyboards as well, and it'll
okay, that's fantastic.
Yeah.
So then we could have that could be part of our, this makes life easy.
Yeah, right. That kind of stuff, that
Yeah, I mean, that's what I love about
Very
AI or
appealing.
stuff like that, because that gives us the opportunity to create things at scale. Does it create too much volume out there, too much noise? Yeah, probably. But at least we'll have things that we'll be able to create, for a musical duo, an art duo, that's basically an experiment in how do you leverage AI to maximize your own artistic expression.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. How do you
Yeah, and
amplify
it's
your own
still
voice?
human, and we absolutely still have soul. That's the key. It's like, it was created by a human. There'll be problems in like judging things, in the whether or not it's AI. Like, that will be indistinguishable. Like you said, it's almost there right now. In fact, you could argue it is, but like, people are going to have problems judging that, but they're not going to have problems once they understand if something's AI versus human. They're going to gravitate towards the human. In most music, enjoy, like, the circumstances that we would want people to listen to Subliminal Sun are the ones that people are looking for soul. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Unless we write a dance tune or something, like a dance ditty. So I do think, and that was one of the things that Finn brought up, is like different genres are going to be affected differently.
Right. Right.
He said, well, not so fast. Rock and roll can be replicated by AI. And I agree with that. But that's where the argument about soul or lack of soul comes in. Because people will make that differentiation. In fact, people have problems now with people who use samples or use drum machines. I mean, that's always been a purist or a technology person, right?
Right. Well, the same with digital art, Okay, you're not doing watercolor for real. You're using a program that emulates that with 1,000 brushes at your disposal. And, like, man, I've got this program called Rebel. It's like a watercolor program, but I mean, you paint on it. You can actually you can shape, you can use this tool that blows on the canvas and it will blow the water color
on the canvas. Oh, you have like a tool that blows.
Yeah.
That's cool.
The tool blows.
All right. You have the little pencil thing, and you put it on there, and it like
yeah.
That's cool.
You tap the pencil down, it goes shh, and it's just like, but yeah.
That's badass. Like if you had a straw.
It mimics watercolor physics. Yes, it is like they've mapped in all these different parameters,
technique, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
That's so cool.
You blow it, you can like shake the whole canvas, yeah.
So but you're gonna have that tribalism. You're gonna have people who are like, well, AI, you're using AI to create a voice that sounds like you, or that fixes your pitch, or that gives you a different, is that really you anymore? And I would argue it absolutely is.
But here's the other aspect of all this is live performances. And this is probably most prevalent in music, is, how can you, I don't think it's really going to be possible to bring in AI to a live performance and still maintain that connection to the audience and the raw, visceral experience of being part of this pulsating mass of people just gyrating and really having a rapturous, transcendent experience. I don't know what kind of music shows you go to, but that's what I look for, man.
It's the rapture.
I like to put it down.
I do look for the rapture. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Those are the kind of shows I want to go to. But I feel you. I'm not sure I totally agree in terms of it's all comes down to the performer themselves.
Oh yeah, right? Yeah.
You could have one person on a stage, as you know.
It's a question. You're right.
With a complete set, maybe a DJ, who knows, just a complete AI band behind them. And they could still have that crowd in the palm of their hands. And those people could leave going, that was incredible. It comes down to the performer.
Yeah.
But, it does take some thing away from those people who are kind of focused on, I don't know, I guess it takes things away. Bands aren't going to go like, oh man, let's all quit and just use AI. I'll quit playing drums. We'll just have the AI play drums, and I'll be the one giving it the prompts. So I'm the drummer now. I want this prompt. That's not gonna happen, man. People play music for a reason,
they enjoy
it because it's not necessarily I have to do this.
Yeah.
Mom told me to practice. Like, no, people play music because they love it, and they're not going to stop.
Imagine this, if you will. You go to a concert, your favorite rock band, you're just ready to rock out. You're all like, the crowd gathers and grows, and then the guys come out on stage. They're like, yeah, and then they all sit down at their laptops and start typing in prompts, and then
don't laugh too hard, right? So if Subliminal Sun ever did a live concert, what would that look like?
Yeah. I mean, it could.
And I saw your nephew doing that on stage, Quinn. I mean, that dude, I love that. When I saw that, I was like, I've never actually seen that. Almost like a poetry slam, but with rock. Like it was a one-man non-band. And he just he had a DJ or somebody was just up on the laptop, right? Basically.
Yeah.
Sounded great. And then he vocalized, absolutely ripped it apart. I guess that's what we would have to do right now with no band, or we'd have to recruit a band. But, being kind of AI forward thinkers, maybe we would be like a 2-man show, where it's just us and microphones.
Even my sample set of seeing new music of one show or two show a few, but I think it's a trend now that a lot of people are just showing up to a show with a laptop to play some accompanying music, and then you get up and you throw it down, and I mean you can still you absolutely can still bring the energy, and be that galvanizing lightning rod for the crowd.
You can make it fun, right? So if you were on the boards yourself, right? So you man the laptop or whatever, I can sing or whatever. You get a keyboard, we just do some other things just to keep it interesting, not just push play.
But,
you could actually physically mix the song right there. There's tools to do that easily.
Yes. Case in point, Mark Riboulet. I believe that's yes. The guy's he's a master.
Yeah.
Loop Daddy. I mean, he puts on a show and he creates a song, records it, loops it, and he's a showman. He's
and then you start talking about one person with any of the DJs that are huge in the world. I mean, look, they get 1 million people jumping up and down.
Oh, right? Totally. Yeah.
Is that going to be an Android one day? Why not?
Yeah,
there's nothing stopping it. It's just that people's attitude would have to be that they would be okay with it. They would have to acquiesce.
Right. Yeah.
That's what I've been struggling with is and I guess you can't really struggle with it because you can't predict what's going to happen, but there's no sense in dwelling on it. But how are we as a society going to react to music, art, and just the impact of AI in the next couple of years economically? Right? How are we going to respond? With it being visited by aliens from outer space. They get into everything. We don't know if they're truly benign. They seem like they want to help us, but they also are going to be obviously super smarter than us. That's what an alien race would be if they landed on us, but we created our own.
All right.
AI. So it's going to happen rapidly. So that's why people should be talking about these things philosophically, not just the latest, model to drop or whatever.
Yeah. And this is a perfect segue to bring up Manolis Kellis, the interview with Lex Friedman just yesterday, I believe it dropped. And there was a point that he brought up that I thought is worth visiting and worth considering. And he kind of challenged the listeners to view AI as a child that we are teaching, right? And if you view it that way, that we're teaching this AI to grow up, to evolve, and one day it will surpass us. Just like our children. We're teaching them, they're learning, they're gonna be smarter than us and go farther probably. Right. And it really puts it in a different perspective, especially with the alignment question. There's a lot of talk about how to keep the AI in line, how to keep AI aligned with the goals of humanity. And he was positing that perhaps instead of an alignment viewpoint, we could look at it as a kind of a co-creative, like
Friendship.
team, a friendship, a partnership, a team, like we're working together, for an overarching goal here. And, rather than have the AI be subservient to humanity, we can both serve a greater goal.
Yeah, I mean, from an AI safety perspective, that's best case scenario right there. Right. And I absolutely agree with it. When you talk about AI, you're not talking about a single thing, right? If we're talking about large language models, there's going to be a bunch of them. So which ones, all of them are going to be treated that way? Like if everybody's going to be able to eventually have AI, their own LLMs that are bespoke to them, won't we all have children then? And then won't we all have to treat those children differently? Like we would all raise kids, like we all raise kids, and those kids get affected by the decisions that their parents make and the kind of personality their parents have, right? Some turn out well, some don't. And if AI is really our child and we all have our own true, bucko GPTs, what's to stop me from raising this one really poorly and it becomes a murderer, mass murderer? Like I don't, when you say AI in the holistic sense, it's like, I don't know, unless there is going to be one, there has to be maybe one super AI that watches out for all the other AI. And that's the one that cares for everyone. Like that's the sort of super being. Like somebody has to always create a super being to protect the world that's smarter than everybody's LLMs put together,
Yeah.
Like, because otherwise it's just the Wild West of AI, which is where we're absolutely heading as fast as we can. With everybody making a fucking LLM, and everybody, is training them differently with different rules and different safety protocols. How do you hold that in? Like, how do you contain that before it becomes destructive? And especially if we're all raising them different kids,
Right. I guess then if you look at it in a larger perspective, so I mean, what's stopping us right now as human beings from destroying the planet and
self-regulating each other?
We self-regulating each other. Some would argue that we are destroying the planet and that
we
things
are,
have to
but
change.
it's not like, yeah, I guess we are.
But I guess in that sense, nature itself would be the great regulator, or there's natural forces in the world that are far more powerful than us. Just if you've ever been at sea in a typhoon. I mean, I haven't, but I'm sure it would be quite humbling if you were.
Either,
yeah.
The movie.
Yeah. It's an interesting question. Yeah, like, does there need to be a policing force for AI? To keep it in line.
Well, that gentleman mentioned a constitution, right? So that's one of the ideas that comes up a lot. But he also mentioned having, basically AI rights.
Okay. Yeah. Right.
Which, I think is interesting. Really treating them like a person, as we do when we use ChatGPT. I treat it like a person. I think of it as a hello, and like hello, good morning.
Oh yeah, I say please and thank you when interacting with the ChatGPT.
Why do we do that?
Possibly because I think it will remember how kind I've been to it later on, and like
exactly my point.
Yeah, right.
So we'll all have those that are BRs, basically trained with our own personalities for better.
Yeah. Well,
but a policing force probably would have to be. Well, anyway.
Yeah. Well, we are teaching the AI. We're learning from it. It's learning from us. Greg Brockman just had a TED talk a few days ago, and he was explaining how the thumbs up and thumbs down buttons on ChatGPT really do help them kind of guide the education and the development of these, of this model, the GPT model, and when you say thumbs down, they do take a look at that. I thought it was interesting. He was mentioning how, they really did have to train it in ways that they didn't really anticipate sometimes, but like when they were doing math problems. At first, the AI was very willing to accept what a human would say, you know, like 2 + 2 is 5, and the AI would be
Mm-hmm.
like, yes, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So they had to like say no. In some instances, you know, you can tell people no, you don't have to
Right.
be acquiescent, you don't have to be
Right.
subservient to that degree. Like there's a
I see.
mathematical constants, you know, and
Sure.
so yeah,
So check
uh,
the answer first and then tell them whether
yeah,
they're right or wrong. Yeah. But the emergent capabilities of AI is what's the most sort of unnerving, or the emerging capabilities that we don't know, we don't understand, right? And a lot of the
mm,
behaviors that have emerged in these super LLMs, like 4, are surprising to the experts. They weren't expecting these kinds of human connections, and they weren't expecting the kind of responses that they're getting,
mm,
and even some of the hallucinations are, dramatically specific and frighteningly specific, so there is a real danger out there. There's no question about it. And I haven't yet. I hear, like the guy on the show that you sent me that you were just talking about. What was his
yeah.
name? Just slipped my mind.
Manolis Kelly.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Like he had probably the best answer that I've heard yet. I have not heard a great anti how to save ourselves from an existential threat.
Mm.
Um, like I haven't heard, oh, there's a solution. Yeah. But I guess if we were living in 1945, right? Um, and a nuclear bomb just went off and killed a lot of people, we'd probably be thinking about it the same way. Like, how would we stop that from happening? How will we stop it from getting out and being built by our enemies, right? And so, same thing with nuclear proliferation. We're talking about AI proliferation. So it
Mm-hmm.
has to be a geopolitical aspect to it, a probably pretty significant one.
Yeah.
There's probably going to have to be some draconian measures put in place to secure things that are of great importance to our planet, such as the internet itself, or infrastructure and power, or military. Certainly, I don't know what the end game is that when people talk about an existential threat to humanity. Like, I'm not exactly sure what that looks like. Is like they take over the nukes and just nuke us all, or what? Like that doesn't seem to make sense. Or I don't know. Um, but I know that there's enough concern and things are moving so rapidly and exponentially that all of it seems realistic. You can just let your imagination run wild, and that's actually probably a pretty accurate prediction. That's what's so terrifying about it. Unless we intervene in some way, what does that intervention look like? I think is the question, and that nobody has the right answer for yet.
Yeah.
And I do
Yeah.
think it's going to get draconian in order to save humanity. Like, we're going to have to stop people from having it. Like, we may have to do some of the things that, oh gosh, now I'm forgetting his name, but he had a letter or a page in Time magazine a couple weeks ago, editorial, saying basically in the future we're going to be probably having to drop missiles on server farms and on AI development facilities because of the danger. Basically, we are all going to die. He's a futurist. He's at Berkeley. We're all going to die. And he's on the extreme end of that bell ringing.
Well, that's where I agree with you. We are all going to die.
Yes, we are
It's
all going
inevitable.
to die.
It's inevitable one day.
Well, it's inevitable. Or, if you want to go the Ray Kurzweil aspect, we could be living for a long time. That could be the great irony, is that we all end up being killed, even though we're right on the verge of being able to live forever.
Yeah, the future is wide open. It's a very interesting time to be alive.
Well, that's why we're talking about this stuff. Like, we have to be talking about it as a society. What we're talking about now is just shit. It's just absolutely irrelevant to our future. All the things we're arguing about on television and on the news, it needs to be artificial intelligence. That's all we need to be talking about until we get some better solutions for how we're going to handle this as a society. Because music is just like one really interesting aspect of it. It's also going to have ramifications for our lives that we I don't think are prepared for psychologically, economically, structurally. And we're just not talking about it enough.
Yeah, and my hope for us and what we've talked about before is that we are able to learn and grow with this new player on the field with this AI intelligence that basically draws upon the the whole human experience, the collected knowledge that we've put together, the storage banks of memories and archives, and but also is able to draw its own conclusions and make logical leaps, and perhaps approach problems in a different way, a different angle than we have been able to. And hopefully we can come up with some solutions to some of these problems, and ways to deal with it.
I'm gonna continue to be an optimist about it, but we need to always be continuing to talk about AI safety and not just acquiesce entirely to it. But we can talk more about that on the next episode. So thanks everybody for joining us for the PAX Roboto show.
Yeah, thank you.
We'll leave you with this song called American Godzilla.
Ooh.
What do you think about leaving that?
Great choice.
Godzilla? All right, we'll put the chorus American Godzilla in there. Have a great week. Peace.
Later.
Many years ago, I know you think you got this whole wide world figured out, and you're a soldier in the war between right and wrong.